Okay, part 3, which is a revision to part 2. Part 2 problem was first snowstorm we had. Out of the gate, the spring was too weak to pull the plow over to the left. So I tightened up the spring and it worked, got through that job. But unfortunately, as I keep putting a stronger spring on, it makes it harder for the motor to pull the plow to the right, but so far it hasn't been limited by torque. So I came up with this solution. Originally I was going to put 2 motors for pulling each way, but really the motors would only be working in one direction anyway, so this one in theory should be better. The springs, you see there's a spring on each side. They're fairly tough springs, and the idea is to not have much movement in them before the blade starts to work, and the springs actually solve 2 problems, or account for 2 things. One is the differences in cable length on either side of the motor, and also as it travels from left to right, and also it keeps tension of a loop of cable on the motor pulley, which is how the system drives. See, one big potential problem down the road with this, and hopefully later rather than sooner, is that you can see maybe in the, it's hard to focus, but you can see a little bit of shavings building up around the pulley, which means either the pulley's wearing or the cable. Kind of hard to tell at this point. I've probably only operated it about 20 or 30 times back and forth, so longevity will be a question on the cable. And if I have to, I'll go to a 3/32 cable, which will hopefully buy some time, but same problem will exist. The other solution is going to a double pulley system that operates each side of the plow independently and eliminate that problem. The cable's fairly taut right now. I'm not sure how many pounds are really on it. I guess 40, somewhere around there. So, but the tighter the cable, appears as if it will have better traction on the pulley and more force to move the plow left and right. When I took it out last time, apparently the colder weather, I don't know if there's grease on the turret there or not underneath, I'm not sure, but something was definitely stiffer and would not move, so the spring was just a little too weak and caused problems right off the bat. So anyway, we'll run this back and forth a little bit, see how it works, and hopefully it'll be a little longer term solution. I gotta adjust that pin, didn't go down. The stop must be coming back a little bit. So there's some issues there. There it went in. Run it over the other side. Locked in. You can see where the cables, or the springs kind of flex quite a bit from one side to the other. You can see where it won't stall the motor, but it puts it under pretty good load and seems to have pretty good torque and pretty good force either side with the blade. So hoping this one lasts for a little bit longer, or at least a little more reliable. We'll see. One thing too I noticed is the motor isn't quite as fast with this method. Must be a lot of friction on that cable, and hence the shavings that are forming. So anyway, if this doesn't work, probably go on to a double pulley system, or we can always go back to independent motors. But with independent motors, that brings another problem of synchronizing them, making sure they feed in and out the same, and that could create issues too. So give this a try and see how long it lasts, and hopefully we won't have to do a part 4 to this.